All right, we should be live and on the air on both Twitch and YouTube. So welcome everyone to the Foolish Tech Show. It is Wednesday? Tuesday? Tuesday morning, yes. And we're here mainly to provide support and answer any questions about our products and services. If you have any of those, feel free to jump over to our IRC chat at foolishtechshow.com and we'll be more than happy to talk directly to you. Otherwise, how's everyone doing this morning?
Good.
Doing good.
It's like Phoenix has got a bunch of links for us. Let's see what he's got. Not bad, Phoenix. Why does my IRC keep...
I've got a few stories too, if, whatever.
Well, let's go through Phoenix's first. So he has easy to boot MPI tool pack now available. Awesome. Norman Rescue. What's a Norman Rescue? So you can also add...
Oh, Phoenix said...
We already talked about the 3 million adult friend finder thing.
Yeah, we did. What about if you...
Yay for all our people in Maine.
Yeah, I don't see, that's again just raises a whole lot of questions of why a state qualifies for that type of exception to their general plan otherwise throughout the country. I'm guessing sure they could call it a test market or something. I don't know, but I didn't look into the story very deeply. But again, I'm not a big fan. You guys know that about data caps.
I thought you really understood and appreciated data caps.
Clearly, you haven't been listening to me.
The benefit they provide
they provide absolutely no benefit whatsoever to anyone except to make profit for the able company or the companies in question, whoever that may be.
All your opinion. So they came out with a smart oven, but it's like a smart toaster oven, and it's $1,500. But it's got a nice interface.
Is it made by Samsung?
Does not look like it. It's called June. And it looks super smart.
Oh, Phoenix.
5-inch touchscreen. Quad-core NVIDIA CPU.
Quad-core NVIDIA CPU?
In your oven. It's pretty nice looking. I mean, it's really nice looking, but $1,500 nice looking. I think it's pretty, but I don't think it's worth $1,500. It's got an HD camera in it. You almost seem as excited about this oven as I am.
So you can see your food cooking.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Well, if you didn't get excited about ovens, how about 100,000 firecrackers going off at once?
that off?
I don't know. What's your nosy cars? Noisy cars? Nosy. Michael?
What's that? What was the question?
Nosy electronic cars?
Oh, no, noisy. In other words, so, this is basically consumer protection, particularly for people with disabilities or sensory loss, but in some manner blind or otherwise. Yeah, so what it will require manufacturers basically to integrate waterproof speakers into their cars to project noise. I guess they've agreed on the details of that, but that is an expense. It's a fairly big expense, I guess, for them. Talking about I don't know, was something like 40 or I don't know. I think it was less than 100 million, but it was offset the cost of that by.
Couldn't they just add a speaker to it that plays car noises?
I mean, yeah, effectively, yeah, that's what
you could like even turn it into like a clunker, so when you're driving around, it's like backfiring and crap.
I don't know
as long
exactly
as they don't
what
make
the
it like
options
some of
are.
these weed eaters that are driving around here these days.
Well, it's interesting. Up to a certain speed, then they don't have to actually project the sound anymore. And the idea is that there are other noises that somebody would hear running at that rate that would tell them that that's a car. But I hope they discuss this with the vision impaired and other groups to understand the science behind this. But I think that they have. I mean, it follows a little bit logically what they're doing here. But apparently there is an increased risk of loss of life with this type of thing. Apparently it's like something like 20% increase, or maybe a little bit less, I believe, somewhere around there. Look at the figures from the article. I'm just trying to summarize it. But basically, it's offset. The savings or the cost to the companies is offset by basically the cost of the possibly even the cost of litigation that they would have to go up against, certainly against the healthcare costs associated with it. So greater good type thing. I kind of think that's cool, and I have no problem with it. I just now that you brought up the point, I dislike the idea of maybe being able to infinitely customize something like that, because that would just get weird. I think having perfectly.
The only case I see where we need this would be in the case of the hearing impaired. I mean, I'm sorry, the visually impaired.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it seems to me that it should be your own personal responsibility to look both ways before you cross the road. I think I learned that in elementary school. Or maybe my parents taught me that before then.
Yeah.
Some point.
There's a large population aside from just the complete blind that have vision or other or sensory problems related to vision that creates issues. You could have horrible cataract.
I like the customized.
Horrible cataract.
You like the speaker?
Yeah, I think they should add. Well, Michael was talking about they were going to add water running and churning.
No, waterproof. I said waterproof speakers. Obviously, they have to be off of their speakers because they're projecting sound outwards from the car. So I was just mentioning that because that increases the cost. It's not just like a cheapo speaker that they can just add in. That
they wouldn't necessarily have to be waterproof. Just stick them under the hood.
Yeah.
I don't. Apparently, that's required.
Michael, that's an easy fix. Just take a marine speaker off a boat.
Okay. Apparently,
they've got those speakers already for that kind of thing.
I'm not telling you what may or might or could happen. I'm just telling you what did happen with this. So that's what they were talking about in it. Read it.
What did happen?
So I'm assuming the noise has to play the entire time the vehicle is running?
No, only up to a certain speed, at which point it doesn't have to do that because other factors such as the wind movement and other sounds tire noises would make the person be aware of the car. That's what I heard is the justification.
And you probably shouldn't have pedestrians on like the interstate anyways.
Yeah, there's most places have laws that you can't do that. Like I don't think, right? Can you just sort of walk up and down the Autobahn? I mean,
well, any interstate in the U.S. In the interstate in the U.S., it's illegal for pedestrians to be on.
Yeah, and I would imagine most of other first world countries and others even probably have similar laws.
Well, I think that one of the benefits of electronic cars would be the reduction in noise pollution. But this is just going to continue the noise.
No, that means you'll be able to hear everybody's ridiculous stereos even better.
That's true,
Yeah. So
too.
are you going to be able to play whatever you want over the speakers, or does it have to be particular noise?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Customizability, man. You can even have it like riding down the road. Watch it, watch out. I'm coming, here I come. Look at me. Here I am, I'm here.
I think that would be cool to a point.
That's a horrible, horrible idea. Listen,
Back up.
If I posted this yesterday, I apologize for the repetition, but it is quite beautiful, and I love how this was made. You'd kind of think at first view that it was. I don't want to ruin it. Maybe give you guys a minute to check it out. But at first view, you might believe that what you're watching is possibly something computer generated.
And then you find out it was made in an aquarium.
Something like that. But it definitely, I have seen some science fiction movies where they could have literally plugged this in as the CG effects, and it would have cost them a whole lot less, I believe. But yeah, sometimes simple is better. I guess is the point with that.
There's a service that will turn your newsletter subscriptions into RSS feeds. Oh, that was pretty cool. So you have them turn your newsletters into RSS feeds. And guess what? What's happening at Chernobyl?
Fill me in.
They're about to move in the gigantic radiation shield, one that's supposed to cover the whole reactor. And
they've been on that for a long time.
I know. I was like thinking when I was reading it, I was like, wow, it only took what, 50, 60 years, 30 years?
Yeah, they were.
Nobody's ever had to do that before.
I mean, it's one of it's been, I think, largely considered to be one of the largest engineering projects of all time.
So they have to build it off site and bring the whole thing in assembled, or
I don't know the details.
They're probably bringing in piece by piece, I would assume. I think they've
had.
Imagine you couldn't work there for very long without croaking.
It looks like they're moving the entire thing all at once.
Oh wow!
Wow, that's impressive. So Phoenix is reporting, Brantley, that you're echoing a little bit. I can confirm that. Not sure if
you're echoing.
Okay, sorry. Did you talk about the security implications of the new security implications of cell phones, and not so much the cell phones itself, just them being kind of vessels for your chemical traces?
Michael.
Yes?
You said you can confirm that Brantley's echoing. Well, maybe you have 2 tabs open as well.
2 tabs open.
Because Phoenix heard Brantley echo because he had 2 tabs open. If you would have continued to read the chat, that's what it said.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. All right.
Busted. I told you you had the echo.
So basically you're saying Phoenix had 2 tabs playing the streams open.
Correct.
I don't okay, yeah. I mean, that wouldn't apply to me, but so I don't.
Well, if you have 1 tab open playing the stream, then that would be echoing to you.
Yeah, but I don't have any tabs open playing the stream because I'm getting the stream otherwise. But did you talk about the chemical traces thing?
No, what chemical traces?
Amazing amount of information can be gleaned from your phone to the point of them being able to know, your your gender, your possibly some aspects of your behavior, the food and medications that you eat and take, grooming products that you use, basically are a large part of your lifestyle from what I'm seeing here. Now, I mean, this isn't unique to cell phones. Anything, I'm sure if you took off somebody's watch and did the same type of analysis, you'd have just as much data, if not more so. But it does.
Wasn't that how they tracked the guy in that movie?
I don't
Other
know.
Wear Out Thou. Oh, Brother, Wear Out Thou. Have you not seen that?
Yeah, I didn't.
They tracked him because he was using that hair gel. Dapper Dan.
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, and that's been done. You know, that's been done before. This isn't exactly a new type of thing. It's just obviously the kind of the amount of data we can glean from the chemical makeup has increased as time has gone on, and you know, yeah, I guess it's sort of similar to something like that. You might be right in that sense. From, I guess, the chemical makeup, the autopsy, having the presence of that, sure. But
It wasn't autopsy. It was just because he used that Dapper Dan hair gel. They were able to track him across the.
Yeah, I know. I mean, if you stamped all your victims with a very particular brand that was only made in one place, I mean, I'm sure, yes, it'd be very easy to catch you. But look, this is a lot more information, a lot more data than just what you put in your hair.
It's the same thing that they did on Point Break too, when they found out that they were surfers.
You apparently watch a whole lot more movies that these things come up in.
Have you not seen Point Break either?
It's been a long time since I've watched that, and I didn't.
They're like the guy scuffed up the counter, so they sent in an analysis and found out it was sand and mud at a particular beach and surfer wax. So that's why Keanu went out and started.
Okay, well,
on the beaches.
And I regret posting the story. If it's been done since the 80s, in that detail, then yeah, this is nothing really that new.
Yeah, chemical analysis is how they track people down a lot of the time.
I just got the impression that the specific tests that they were doing in this particular case.
I probably am echoing because Johnny's not muted.
Mass spectra. What was it? The type of actual scan that they did, I thought was in comparison to what they've done previously, at least according to this, would seem to be much finer grain, or maybe, oh yeah, mass spectrometry, yeah. That they didn't do before, wasn't as easily done before, and certainly the speed at which this analysis takes place is, I think, also very important. You know, there were things that took, you know, weeks potentially to diagnose in the complicated lab process that now can be diagnosed in hours or even shorter periods of time. You know, so there's definite improvements, and sometimes they are little ticks, and sometimes they don't change the entire process, as you're pointing out, something that's been in place for quite some time, but it's just now more accessible and more readily available. Hopefully improving police work and other things that could benefit from that. But there are potential privacy concerns. If I guess what would be the advice here? Wash your hands, put on gloves. You know, I don't know.
Don't use chemically identifiable products.
Don't use. Well, I mean, you wouldn't be able to touch anything at that point, so it would be gloves. Basically, is the solution.
Well, your gloves would still have the stuff on them.
I know. Then you'd have to burn each pair or something, never let them out of your sight. It's the paranoid.
I think just not touching things that are chemically identifiable would be better.
What do you think about what do you think about this? I don't want to talk about craziness, which I think you're trying to lead me down into, but this one's interesting. But I kind of understand why Shazam is doing it in this case. It would so basically the accusation is that they're leaving the microphone on even when you explicitly turn it off within the application. And now, while that sounds pretty bad, we all, I don't know if you're not aware of what Shazam does. It's designed to pick up like background music and tell you what song it is and identify it. That being the case, apparently there is an impact to how their software would perform if they did turn it off. And since it's not doing any analysis on the data, it's just basically kind of leaving it on because it takes time to start. So they were claiming, it was done for performance, but I can kind of understand for it to be as seamless as they want it to be, they kind of have to do it that way. You have any opinion on that? Whether or not it's reasonable for them to.
Were you using an app that main purpose is to record and identify sounds and then using the microphone? Other question?
Yeah, I mean, but the argument is that if you turn the microphone off, you'd expect it to actually be off, and it's not usually.
And you said you could turn the mic off in the app?
Yeah, there's an option. Yeah.
Like the entire point of that program is to listen to stuff and tell you what it is. Mm-hmm. What is the point of that program without?
Well, let's say you wanted to be able to identify songs, but you also at some point wanted to have a private conversation with someone, and so the idea is that you would turn that off.
Don't have Shazam open while you're having a private conversation. It's not like it records all.
Most manufacturers would consistently have cell phones would tell you that there's no reason to ever close an app. So that being the case,
there obviously is a reason to close an app.
Well,
so otherwise you're going inside each app and disabling the microphone out of each app instead of just closing it.
Or I mean, you could turn it off your cell phone too. There's a whole lot of solutions, but
yeah, you could just turn off your cell phone.
I was kind of on
take the battery out.
I was kind of on their side as well, and you appear to be, although you're being very aggressive as how you're presenting that. But it's something that people should, if you just read the headline, you'd almost think, they're evil. But there's a lot more detail and nuance to it, so that's another good story to point that out.
Oh, so Phoenix posts that Malwarebytes is going after antivirus. They're an antivirus replacement now.
That's a first.
Yeah. Apparently they're getting into the antivirus industry.
Who's that?
Malwarebytes. Their version 3 beta is labeled as a next generation antivirus replacement.
Interesting.
Yeah. And also the decryption keys and Decryptor for Crysis ransomware has been released.
Oh, cool. That's good to know. I'll add that to the list.
And on the same topics, there's a smartwatch that's powered by your body heat. Well, I was very excited about the Nike self-lacing shoes, but I don't think I am $1,000 excited for them. Apparently, they're going to run about, was it $750? $720 per pair. For a pair of shoes that lace themselves.
So, you know, I kind of think he should have a strong case, but so they, you know, they basically tell you that this is a government fee that they have to tack on here, and of course, you know, in this capitalist society, we all would understand that, and you know, okay, well, that's an increase that darn government with all of its whatever is pushing on, but you know, that may not be the case. It may just be them blindly increasing prices.
How was that darn government?
Well, in other words, it's where the consumer wants to place the blame. In other words, they should be placing the blame on Charter, and Charter attempts to lie and deflect that by claiming it's a enforced government fee, which in some cases it may be, in other cases it may not be. And unless you're, you know, really into the law, like, you know, reading all those thousands of pages of it, it may not be abundantly clear whether or not those government fees, because they're so descriptive, are real or not. Now, what if we put a government fee on every software
So
license?
what do? Do you just like sue each one to find out if it is a government fee, or?
No, you'd have to probably get a lawyer and a person from the FCC, I guess, or and get together and look at it and see whether or not it's actually the case.
For every bill you get that has government fees on it?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, no, the first time, just checking once should clear it up for all future bills as well.
Well, not
Who's aware of the
each
law.
individual bill, but I mean, like, you got power, you got water, you got
Well, in this
Cell
case, I mean, I
telephones.
haven't had a reason to not trust some of those public utilities, but I do have reasons of my own, personally, not even this one in particular, but reasons to mistrust ISPs, because not the least of which is their.
You don't have any reason to mistrust your cell phone company?
Oh, no, absolutely. And those are the
Well,
ones I would look into. Yes, I would look into all of those fees as well, but they're ISPs. You have
You
to
don't have
understand
any reason to.
they're the same group of people. They're
You
all
don't have any reason to mistrust your power company?
Not so much right now, but I'll look into that as power gets a little bit more aggressively marketed.
I definitely mistrust our water company.
Having a
$30 even if we don't use any water.
mother who designs the billing systems for those things and the oversight that is just basically throughout the process of that, I have the utmost trust in the water. It's at least a lot better than it would be otherwise. Although I don't like the possibility of things happening like happened in Flint, Michigan, but I do believe there's a very high degree of oversight in that area. And while there could always be a problem, it's not going to be happening already and under the covers. It's typically going to be something you know, intermittent here and there, but there's no oversight at all of ISP.
So your mom designs the water stuff?
The billing systems and the accuracy of the meter readings into the system.
And ask her how come I get charged $30 for not using any water?
Well, you do know that you're responsible for water leaks, even if you're unaware of where those water leaks may be.
I'm not leaking any water.
But the water,
so
our water bill is cheaper.
You can turn it off. You can usually turn off the main feed into your home, and like if you go away and then come back, and if they were to give you a bill that said that, but the implementation.
No, they say that they charge you no matter what. If you don't use any water, they charge you one.
Oh, there are some operational fees that are probably allowed.
That doesn't make sense.
As long as it's not a usage fee, as long as it's not a fee based upon an amount of water that you consumed. If the fee is in any way based upon the amount of water that you consumed and you didn't consume any, then that is illegal.
I mean, is there a minimum fee?
Apparently, that's what they're saying, is that there's a minimum fee for just having water turned on. Like, even if you don't use any water.
I'll
Yeah,
check
I know
with my mom.
the gas company is is that way. The natural gas company. They charge you a fee just for keeping the connection active, even if you're not using it.
What connection would I have? They come in a
What?
truck to refill it. There's no connection.
Oh, so
Well,
they
you're
charge you a
natural
minimum.
gas.
They charge you a minimum fee also.
No, well, I don't think so. I was not aware of one.
We have our
But that
water heater
makes
is
sense, I guess, if
is
mine doesn't.
gas powered as well, so we always use some gas. But
Yeah, I'm the same way. I have a gas water heater.
Well, I may look into those things a little bit more. But if that's consistent between the gas and what you're reporting for the water, that they can have operational costs of having you connected, and you know, that may be totally legal. But
I
I'll check
think
with
it's
my mom. But
totally
I don't.
illegal.
I doubt that they're breaking the law in any way.
It seems like they are. They're charging me for not using something. Just for being
But it's
able to have
not
the
like
ability
that.
to.
It's not like that. Think of it like Netflix. Whether or not you choose to stream a single movie in a month of having Netflix, the service is available to you, and you have to pay that bill whether or not you watch something. So it does. Nothing is ever allowed to just be in the consumer. I mean, any sort of subscription. In this case, it is a subscription in a sense that you have it available on demand. It's not a conventional subscription. It's based upon usage primarily, but they're probably within the law are allowed to have. And I'm no lawyer,
Netflix should move to a usage consumption subscription. Now that you mention it, I don't watch
Seems
it.
like I would end up paying more than I do now. I don't like that.
I don't know, if you didn't watch anything for a month, you charge less. You can balance out.
I wish the cable company would charge by consumption, because I never watch it.
Why do you even pay the cable company still?
Every now and then I watch the news. I need to have it cut off.
Yeah, his
Yeah, they make HD antennas, right? Johnny's doesn't work very well, but they make them.
Yeah, I have one in my bedroom, and it doesn't work very well.
Well, you're a lot closer too. You have to. Apparently, we found out you have to. It depends on where the HD towers are.
Yeah.
And the one Johnny would have had to get was like a 60 to 100 mile, because ours are all just outside the range of where we are.
On my, I've just got regular rabbit ears for my HD antennas, and there's only one local channel I don't get.
What channel's that?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Y'all are in the center of the tri-state. So
I don't get NBC.
That's the one I have trouble with.
Of course, I've had trouble with that no matter where I've lived, anywhere south of Winston.
But Phoenix agrees and says you should watch it online.
Yeah.
Why don't you just watch? That's what I told Johnny. Johnny was like, I need to get an HD antenna so I can watch TV. And I'm like, what TV? And she's like, I want to be able to watch the news stations. And I'm like, you mean the ones that come on the internet? And she's like, no, it's different. And I'm like, yeah, there's probably less on the TV than they put on the internet. Like, they probably put a whole lot more stuff out there just to fill pieces. So.
I think altogether there's, minus the religious channels and stuff, I still get about 15, 20 channels. I get quite a bit.
Jeez, yeah, you get a lot more than we would.
Because all the main channels have 2 or 3 sub channels, and some of them have 4.
Yep. Well, Phoenix also posts about the secured FTP client that encrypts passwords. As far as I understood, it was just they made a patch where FileZilla stores your passwords encrypted on your system, so it's not using the plain text files anymore.
Yes, that's correct. That was my understanding, at least, as well. So somebody independently did a fork of not a fork so much, but just a simple patch to that. So, I mean, patch in the sense if you consider it to be a problem. It is to some extent, but it's
Yeah.
mitigated by other factors.
Well, Lifehacker has a tranquil playlist designed for programming to help you focus.
Oh, really?
It's an interesting layout. I like it.
Hmm.
Oh, and he says the FileZilla uploads are way quicker.
I wonder what he would have had to make more changes than I suggested for that to be the case.
Mhm.
And I guess maybe it is a complete fork.
This guy's Hot Wheels collection is worth over $1 million.
Oh, oh.
Do what?
He certainly would have had to do more than I suggested for it to work out well. What I just
Oh, so
What more?
threading. I got it. So it wasn't too long before this happened, and I'm surprised because it didn't seem to have network connectivity from what I thought the Nest Classic, but it looks like it is possible to. I'd love to know. I'm gonna try to figure out how they did this, but
Cool. What distro do they use?
yeah, they were able to connect a serial cable to the motherboard and one Japanese. What'd you say? What distro? Sir, it was probably something custom. They got access to the it's the kernel is partly open. What they're using in it is open source. So you know it's Linux. So they were able to get the source code and make a few changes.
Phoenix said it was Debian.
Probably. I mean, that's one of the most popular distributions or distributions that are derived from that. Includes probably over 90% of the market. Maybe desktop market. It might be different on servers. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, there might even be a possibility of expanding the games that run under it. I kind of believe that Nintendo probably took some steps to prevent that, but maybe not. That'd be nice to look that difficult.
Here is from a former staffer. Best ways to contact your congressman representative.
Yay! Thank you. Somebody needs to teach civics. Apparently, our schools haven't done that in years now. It's like if we stop teaching math tomorrow. May have just as much impact on our lives.
So it looks like your best way is to go to
Phone?
town hall meetings and get a large group with pitchforks and torches and ask them point blank. So that's the best way to contact your congressperson.
It's very sad to see that there are so very few limited options.
Your letters are batched out and algorithmed. Your phone calls are only if there is a significant pattern and trend of phone calls. And even then, it doesn't go to him if that happens. It's just, hey, are you guys getting these kind of phone calls too? That's interesting. I think we should get all of their phone numbers.
Okay, well.
What else do we got? Just dead air?
I don't know.
Wow, even Michael don't have anything to say.
Uh-oh.
Well, I'm trying to be skeptical on us. There's so much. Oh.
Oh man, so apparently the Linux disk encryption has a easy backdoor password built in. You just hold the enter key for 70 seconds.
Wow. That's horrible. So if you need something done around the home, are you gonna go call Amazon?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's apparently big. Here's a great technology one from our friends at ours. Brain implants, functional and life improving, are apparently here.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
That's impressive, to say the least.
It does not affect other distributions that use Linux, looks, or crypt setup.
Okay, so it's very specific on that one distribution that Bleeping's using.
Sleeping Computer. Do you think they're a Linux distro?
No, that they're using or they're talking about in this. Let me see. I wasn't. Yeah, so based on Debian, it's only those based on Debian that use Lux specifically.
So Debian, Ubuntu, Mint. Then you just set up Lux on yours, you said, so you could take snapshots?
That's not Lux. That's Logical Volume Manager, but I didn't encrypt mine, so that wouldn't have affected me, but yeah, so I mean, so the Linux Unified Key setup, so crypt setup depends upon that. So I'm betting probably had I done the encryption there of my drive, then yeah, I would have been vulnerable. But being that I'm sure this will get high attention, and other distros could potentially say, "Hey, I'm not affected." I'm sure everyone will scramble to patch this as quickly as possible. Let's see.
Well, let's see. I got
It's already incorporated. November 7th. November 7th was when it was incorporated in Debian.
Let's see. I got it. I got an encrypted drive set up on my Linux Mint computer here right now.
Yeah, it might be worth trying. Let's see.
So, let's see what happens.
Oh, be careful. Tread lightly. You have a bomb shelter.
All right, we're powered off. Powering on.
The suspense is killing me.
Please unlock disk. Enter for 70 seconds. Do we got a timer?
I'll time you. Give me a second.
I got it.
Okay.
Enter has been held for 15 seconds.
God, you do have to be pretty patient if you want to break in, don't you? I don't think I could do it. So
30 seconds.
way too long.
And it does keep just flashing up the please unlock this. "45 seconds.
I would have given up by now.
50 seconds. I got a busy box. Built-in shell.
And you have root access with it?
I don't think you can do that much from the busy box.
Was there additional steps? I mean, because
I
it
don't-
sounded like it worked, but it shouldn't be throwing up shells when it's asking you to decrypt the drive.
I just got the busy box. I don't know if the drive's encrypted. I can't see it, so yes, that's good.
And remember, if you updated since the 7th, it's possible you have a patch for it.
Maybe. Or maybe it's not using that style.
Yeah, it could be used in a different form of, I guess, not that crypt thing. Crypt setup.
Oh well. Can't break into mine still. Shucks. All right. Well, while I'm booting back up, anybody got anything else? No, just more dead air. Michael Ramble.
Huh? Oh, yeah. So that breakdown of the NES Classic. So it's ARMv7, not ARMv8. So that means it's like Raspberry Pi 2 esque processor. It's interesting.
Good story.
It's quad core, and yeah, it looks to be. Let me see if I can find the speed. Let's see. I thought I saw that somewhere. Looks like it's running at. Oh, no, that's not it. 600, or is that? Yeah, I don't see the speed, but I think it's sub gigahertz, or just a gigahertz. So,
Your rambles are not very good.
I'm just typing.
Fix a broken hoverboard into an electric mountain board now. Take those broken on-fire hoverboard parts, convert them into a powerful mountain board. That's pretty cool.
I know that that link is long, but guessing that most of our readers here probably don't read Japanese, so my apologies. Yeah, so it was. He said Debian distro Phoenix isn't incorrect, but he was specifically using Ubuntu 12.04. Google Translate's pretty good. I don't really have any problem reading any of that. I wish I had some more pictures, but yeah, you could reproduce this.
Reproduce what?
You could reproduce what this guy did. And so, and they don't, looks like they don't publish the speed that the chips are running at for some silly reason, I'm sure. But pretty much anything you need to know to hack it.
What are you hacking? What are you just randomly saying micro words about?
Oh, I'm just giving, I'm posting all the details if somebody wanted to reproduce what this Japanese guy did. He posted all of his resources. I just thought if I, instead of digging through all the couple pages I was reading there, I thought maybe they would, maybe you guys could, or if somebody wanted to benefit from that. It's interesting. I like to see how the hardware beneath these things work and how, I mean, it's so very similar to, I mean, it might as well be a Raspberry Pi for all intents and purposes. The only thing I see a little bit odd is this clock speeds that the memory and the CPU is running at.
All right. Well, we've made it to our hour. Do you have more that you want to talk about?
No, but you know, it's any one of our single board computers looks far more complicated than this. I wanted to add. There is very limited functionality because of the limited connectivity that they're exposing in this. Basically, just two USB ports and power. I mean, that's the type of, you know, oh, the display is HDMI, yes, but you know, that's very minimal in comparison to the type of connectivity that our SBCs tend to offer. And you know, no exposed GPIO, so that means, you know, no expansion typically without, you know, replacing stuff. So it's, you know, very limited in comparison. You know, so if you were doing comparing costs, you're getting a lot more for that, you know, $30 or $40 that you're spending on the actual SBC side of it. So I thought that was a good thing to note. And if you watched the teardown from yesterday, you would recognize that.
Oh man, the best take on the Christmas tree star top. The Death Star, the only star you need at the top of your Christmas tree.
Huh. Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Proctor, Michael, whoever started.
All right.
Doctor has to finish ordering his Death Star Christmas tree thing.
I was thinking about placing an order as well. But we don't have a Christmas tree.
Oh, you need to go watch that Charlie Brown special.
Oh, I do have a Charlie Brown Christmas tree. My mom bought me one. But I'm pretty sure this will not fit on that.
If he was able to make a Christmas tree happen, I think anyone is. Dress it up. It'll look great. Cut your own. Go out in the woods.
I'm not
Go
sure.
ahead and just stop it, Proctor, if you're having